This is Lang Solberg, commercial fisherman and business development manager for Deckhand Logbook. I'm here today to provide a quick tutorial on our newly released maintenance logbook. This logbook is integrated into our default fishing logbook, always available for free on the App Store for iPad. We're really excited about this maintenance logbook release, and we're looking forward to you trying it, and as always, giving us your feedback at support@deckhandlogbook.com or direct message us on any social media channel, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So with your Wi-Fi and cellular enabled iPad, head to the App Store, download Deckhand Pro for free, and set up your account. You'll then be brought to the Deckhand home screen, which looks just like what you see in front of you on the video right now. As a reminder, I won't be providing a tutorial on the fishing logbook itself for this video, but I encourage you to tap Go Fishing later on and give it a try, either for fun or on your next fishing trip. So let's get started with the Deckhand Pro maintenance logbook. As you can see on the home screen here, we have the black column on the left-hand side and the main part of the home screen in white with the Deckhand electronic logbook logo. In the top left-hand corner, you'll see 4 buttons: Open, Closed, Mate for maintenance, and Settings. Let's go ahead and illuminate that Mate button by tapping it. And this will ultimately populate, the list in the black column below maintenance will ultimately populate with maintenance activities as we record them. In order to start recording maintenance activities, we need to press the plus button, or what we call the faboot, on the white part upper left-hand corner of the Deckhand home screen. So go ahead and tap that plus button, and we'll start by adding a couple of fuel tanks so we can call on those fuel tanks later on when we actually refuel our vessel. So we tap fuel in the list, and we're brought to this dialog box where we'll start by tapping Configure Fuel Tank Details. Let's add a fuel tank. So in order to do so, we'll tap Add Tank Data. We'll select tank number 1 by tapping on it. And Deckhand asks us a couple of questions about tank number 1. So total capacity, I'll tap the total capacity box on the right-hand side. And for the example, we'll just put 500 gallons. We'll leave diesel selected as it is a diesel tank. And in the notes, I'll tap Edit and add that this is the main fuel tank. Now we may have another tank to add, so let's go ahead and add another one just for fun. To do so, we'll tap Add Tank Data again, there at the just underneath the details for tank number 1. We'll select tank number 2, and we'll just say that maybe this is a day tank with a total capacity of 100 gallons. We'll leave it as diesel, and in the notes, if I tap Edit, I'll type day tank and tap Done on the keyboard. So we've added a couple of fuel tanks. We'll say that we're done adding tank profiles for the time being, and we'll go ahead and tap Complete in the bottom right-hand corner. Now we're back to the home screen, and you can see that our first maintenance activity, which is adding that fuel tank configuration, is showing in the list on the left-hand side as the first item in that list. As with anything that shows up in that list as we go on, you can edit or delete any of the maintenance activities that populate in the list at any time. So let's say we're pulling into the fuel dock and we're going to take on some fuel. We'll tap the plus button again, tap Add on the fuel option on the top of the list there, and we'll then tap Perform Refuel. Next, we'll tap Add Fuel Data to Tank. Select our main tank, tank number 1, and let's just say that we have 50 gallons estimated existing in the tank prior to taking on fuel. Assuming we fill that tank up to full, we'll say that we took on 450 gallons. The price per gallon, we'll call $3 a gallon. Finally, we'll enter some details about who actually performed the fuel up. So let's just say that our engineer did so, and we'll tap Done. And the date automatically populates to today's date under fuel date. And if we wanted to, we could add any other notes about that particular fuel event, but we'll leave it blank for now. Also, if we have multiple tanks, we can add fuel data to those other tanks. So if we had a port tank and a starboard tank, we would tap the plus option there at the bottom to add fuel data to the other tank. If we added fuel to our day tank, we could do the same, but for the sake of brevity, we'll just leave it as taking on 450 gallons in tank number 1, and we'll tap complete. Next, let's move to the engine room. So before we do an oil change or a filter change in the engine room, we need to build a couple of engine profiles, say, on our hypothetical vessel with 2 engines. To do that, I'll select the second option in this list, which is perform maintenance. First of all, we'll go ahead and tap configure engine details so we know which engines to call on when we perform maintenance. I'm going to go ahead and add an engine here under engine details, select engine number 1, and we'll begin by putting in our engine hours. Let's say we have 2,000 hours on engine number 1, which under the engine name field, by tapping edit, I'll call our main engine. Next, under engine make, I'm going to put in MAN, which is the make of the main engine in my own commercial fishing boat. The model is R6, and the engine year, I believe, is 2014. Now, just a reminder, when I'm entering details into any of these fields, I'm tapping on the black boxes all up and down the right-hand side, the right-hand edge of the screen, where we have edit or blank black boxes, or we can enter numbers and such. That's how we get the keyboard to pull up to enter those details. Moving on, serial number I can't quite recall. Oil capacity for that engine is 7 gallons. Oil change interval, we'll say it's 200 hours. And under the notes section, I'll leave it blank for now, but you could add things like part numbers for impellers, belts, other details related to coolant or your gearbox or whatever it may be. The sky's the limit. It's pretty much a free form notes section. Let's go ahead and add an engine. This will be engine number 2. And for this particular vessel, which I'm largely mimicking my commercial fishing vessel, we're going to add a generator. So for the generator, we'll say the engine hours are 1,500. The engine name, I'll just type as generator. Engine make is a Yanmar. Honestly, can't remember the model. The engine year is roughly a 2014. I don't have this stuff in front of me right now, nor do I have the serial number in front of me. But that little engine just takes a gallon of oil, and we'll call it a 200-hour oil change interval. Again, I could add notes about belts, filter numbers, impellers, you name it, but I'll leave it blank for now. Now that we're done adding our 2 engines, we'll just tap complete in the bottom right-hand corner. But note that you can add as many as you need to. Now, on to actually performing an oil change. So we'll tap the plus button, top left-hand corner of the white Deckhand home screen, and we'll tap perform maintenance again. Now that we have our engine profiles in Deckhand, we tap change oil. Next, we'll tap add oil data at the top of the main screen there. Select a regular oil change. And the first question Deckhand asks us, which is a mandatory question, noted by the exclamation point, is which engine are we changing oil on? We'll say that we're changing oil on our main engine. We've preloaded most common oil grades in this list. For the main engine, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find 520. Oil brand is Shell Rotella. Whoops, typo there. Performed by, we'll say, the engineer. The date of the oil change is automatically set to today's date, but you can change that date at any time. We'll just leave it as is for now. And any notes that you want to add can go in that freeform notes section again there at the bottom. Now, because we changed oil on our main engine, and typically I try to change oil on both engines at the same time, we'll go ahead and add one more oil change here under Add Oil Data at the bottom. Another regular oil change. We'll select our generator for the next one here with an oil grade of 1540. Oil brand is Dello. Performed by, again, the engineer. The date of the oil change is set to today's date, and as always, we can add those freeform notes at the bottom. So now we have conducted 2 oil changes on each engine in the vessel, and we'll tap complete. But what is an oil change without also changing the oil filters? Let's tap the plus button again, tap perform maintenance, and tap change filter. We'll tap add a filter change, and note that you can also log fuel filter changes and hydraulic filter changes. But of course, we're going to select the third down in the list, which is the oil filter change, parallel to our oil changes themselves. So we'll go ahead and select engine, our main, our filter number. I'm just going to put as 123 for the example. The filter brand on the main engine would be an MAN. Install date is today, performed by the engineer. And the filter change interval we'll just set to 200 hours, just like the oil change interval. Under notes, again, I could add anything I wanted. If this were the real deal on my commercial fishing vessel, I might add that the spring on the filter element always faces aft, but we'll just leave it blank for now. And of course, we need to add one more filter change by tapping Add Filter Change at the bottom, another oil filter on our generator. We'll just put, again, 123 as the filter number. Filter brand, I believe for that one is just a Napa. Install date today, performed by the engineer. 200-hour interval, and any notes we need, but we'll leave them blank. And now that we've changed filters on both engines along with oil, we'll tap complete. Now the final thing I want to show you is the maintenance report. Perhaps the most exciting piece of the maintenance logbook. Very informative and useful. So we'll tap the plus button, top left-hand corner again, 3 down from the top, tap Maintenance Report. In the maintenance report, there are a few things to point out. We have the creation date there at the top. We have our engine profiles, our main and our generator. We have our fuel tank profiles, our main tank and our day tank. And then we have our maintenance logs themselves. So we can filter by date range. We can filter by type of maintenance as well. So let's go ahead and select the last 7 days. And let's say we want to just look at oil changes. So in the last 7 days, we see our 2 oil changes there on both of those engines, complete with the details of the type of oil, who did it or who logged it, etc. If we move over to fuel, in the last 7 days, Deckhand shows us that we added 450 gallons on that one fuel up that we logged in the video earlier. And maybe if we just go to all for the last 7 days, we can sort of see everything here. We've added 450 gallons of fuel, 2 filters. We can see the details of those 2 filter changes, the details of the 2 oil changes, as well as the fuel log there at the very bottom of the list. And finally, in the top right-hand corner, you can tap Share and share this as a PDF to anyone you like, yourself, your business partner, your spouse, via text, email, or any method that is common in that Apple list of ways to share certain documents from your device. That concludes the tutorial of the maintenance log. We really hope you enjoy it, and we're eager to collect your feedback. Again, Email us anytime at support@deckhandlogbook.com or reach out to us in a direct message on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Deckhand Logbook. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next video.